that working? Okay. That is super annoying. That is super duper annoying. That's super annoying. That is super annoying. So my OBS just went kaput. Do over, yeah, literally just broke. It literally just broke, which is very, very annoying. The stream. So we're going to wait until some more people are in here and then we'll go back talking about this topic. I'm going to change up my thumbnail. Yeah, I could have got it back into the original stream, but I didn't even realize. So what I thought was wrong wasn't what was wrong. I thought it was a issue with my internet, and it wasn't. It was just my streaming software decided to shut itself down. Which wasn't fun. So we're gonna go and change the thumbnail on this one anyway. But yeah, we got 33 people in here. Yeah, my internet's fine. My internet's fine. It's literally just my streaming software decided to shut down. If I had known, I would have been able to get it back onto the previous stream. So yeah, we've already talked about the Angel Reese topic, so let's start from the top. Not a chance. Not a chance. But yeah, some people are saying that Sophie's ridiculous. I agree. So we've got 60 people in here, so we're gonna start. But yeah, the Sophie Cunningham situation is it's one of the weirdest things ever. Where like this is where it's like detached, when the WNBA is like so detached from reality. So like if you know, it's like everywhere kind of around the world, when it comes to the Sophie Cunningham thing, it's the point is what it is. Like it doesn't even really matter who it's towards. The context isn't really taken into account, but it's like it's just seen as this funny thing, which it was. Even Sophie talking about it is like it was annoying Breanna. And so I just kept doing it. Breanna said, "Don't point to me," so I kept pointing. Like, it was the most nothing burger thing ever. In the WNBA, in WNBA circles, apparently the point is a discriminatory, it is derogatory point used towards people of color. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Like, even at our camp, you're going and seeing kids out there meeting with Sophie, and of course they want to go and do the point. They're going to want to do the point. And it's like, this is funny. They're seeing it online. It's like, people are like, it's not polite. Yeah, neither is so many things. We live in the TikTok era. We live in the TikTok era of the world. It is what it is. And like, you've then got, I haven't seen it. To be fair, I think I've muted the people. But it's like, you got this dumbass here, like, an actual basketball person, come on, where are the parents? What do you mean, where are the parents? It's fucking harmless. It's harmless. I really, Sophie just as a joke just needs to start just every single time she scores on a white person, she needs to point at them just as a joke, just to stop that. But it's like, where are her parents? Sending them to a basketball camp ran by a WNBA player. That's where the parents are. And then you've got here, and this is where it's about, where it's like, you've got 5 players from the Special Olympics team were excited to meet Sophie Cunningham. And Sophie Cunningham immediately coming in and being like this. So, like, you look at it there, in the most harmless interaction ever. You've got, like, the most harmless interaction ever. You've got Special Olympics kids coming down, talking about how they love the point. And then you look at social media, and apparently it's a sign. You see people randomly using the meme. Like, people using the meme everywhere, and then suddenly it's like, people need to stop using the meme. It's the, like, some people aren't the ones complaining. Only CC YouTubers keep bringing it up. The WNBPA came out and said that the point was derogatory. And then you've got this joke, and it's like people again complaining about it. It's like, she doesn't point when the kid says, I love when you do this, she's a muzzle. Like, no, Sophie Cunningham said, you do it better than me. Which is the best way to react. Like, we need to stop in these scenarios talking about, oh, you know, she's been muzzled, she hasn't been. No one's ever going to stop Sophie Cunningham from saying or doing whatever the fuck Sophie Cunningham wants to do. She's acting like a nice human being around the Special Olympics team? And apparently, again, that is a problem. And it's like, I'm looking at this. It's like, this is where you detach social media from reality. You've got, obviously, Fever players. They're looking at all these Fever players. They're meeting with the team. And then Sophie Cunningham's there. Sophie Cunningham! Like, they're all so hyped to meet Sophie Cunningham. And that's just the way it is in real life. Like, I don't think people understand that when you leave the WNBA circles, like, that's all that it is like, people are excited to see players. Like, people are saying, people are just excited to see these players. And you're seeing Sophie Cunningham interacting with campers who all want to get in a picture and do the point with her. You've got Sophie Cunningham interacting with, like, people on the Special Olympics team. And it's like, and then suddenly this is all problematic. I'm like, this is where you're drawing a line, and it's like, I don't actually think you believe, like, you give a shit about any of this. Because I'm like, you've got a player in Sophie Cunningham who in the last 5 days, all she has done is attended a camp with a load of kids. Seemingly the kids have a great time. And then came back to the Indiana Fever, practiced with her team, and spent time with kids on the Special Olympics team. But yet, if you look on Twitter, she's the worst human being in the world and is everything wrong with the league. And Jamel Hill is ranting about her getting a signature colorway of a shoe. Let's be very fucking clear. There are worse players than Sophie Cunningham that have gotten signature color. JC Sheldon has a signature shoe. Let's be very clear about that. If you look in the NBA, Langston Galloway had a signature shoe for a while. Like, there are bad players that have had signature colorways, signature shoes, whether they're just where they get popular at the right time or work with the right brand at the right time, and their agent is able to get them a colorway. And if you are Adidas, they were probably releasing a colorway anyway for their shoe, and they probably genuinely just were like, Sophie, do you want this to be your PE? Because, you know, you're hyped right now, it'll help us out, and you've got your own PE. Like, it is what it is. Somebody says we can get one of these 2 first round. Ashlyn Watkins or Clara Strack. Strack's not falling to 12, and Ashlyn Watkins is not going first round. Like, do the Indiana Fever really want to draft Ashlyn Watkins? Just look up Ashlyn Watkins as a human. The Indiana Fever are not drafting Ashlyn Watkins. But yeah, it's one of those things now where it's so funny when you're kind of leave the WNBA circle, especially with Sophie, where it's like you have pretty much got a player that the WNBA should be doing everything they can to promote, because she is, again, for better or for worse, whether you like her or not, one of the biggest players in the league. And if you want to say, oh, but she's not as good as X, Y, or Z person, yeah, sure. But it's like saying in the 2000s that tennis should not have been, that the sport of tennis should not have been promoting Anna Kournikova. Or, like, it is what it is. Sometimes players kind of transcend the sport, or they're big outside the sport. They don't have to be the best player in the world. Because let's be very clear. Like, the WNBA were hyping up Angel Reese before she was as good as she is right now. And, like, Sophie's about the 50th best player in the NBA. Angel Reese as a rookie is probably the 30th best player in the league, and they still promote her like the second biggest star. Like, it's one of those things where the league should be seeing who the popular people are and promoting the popular players. Like, it is what it is, and the league just fails miserably in every count. And in a week where all Sophie Cunningham has done seemingly is spend time with campers and, you know, seemingly lovely around the Special Olympics team. And these are the clips that have been out there. And you've got the WNBA media pretending she's the damn devil. Like, it is what it is. And it just shows that, again, not only the WNBA, and I had to say WNBA because people are like, oh, it's only Twitter. The WNBA makes decisions based on Twitter. Like, the WNBA makes decisions purely based on Twitter. Angel's the biggest star off the court. The WNBA doesn't promote her at all. In 2026, yes, I agree with that, but they absolutely did in 2024 as a rookie. They absolutely did. But the biggest WNBA star off the floor could very well be Sophie Cunningham. Just purely because of the meme. Purely because of that. It's between Sophie and Angel. Both of them are bigger stars off the floor than Caitlin Clark. But still, it is what it is. What do I need to check? So, Kelsey Mitchell. So, Kelsey Mitchell is now back. She is back. Where do I need to find this? Kelsey Mitchell is now back at practice, which is big. Which is really, really big because, look, what we're not doing is, like, I didn't make a video on her missing practice for personal reasons. Or missing practice for personal reasons. Personal reasons? Yeah. And if I'm being honest, the reason why I didn't make a video on that was because I'm like, missing practice one day, not an issue. Missing practice multiple days, okay, there we have an issue. But Kelsey Mitchell is already back after one day, wide open three-point shot. And this is the usual. Teams not guarding Kelsey Mitchell and shooting wide the fuck open. That is the Kelsey Mitchell special. And now we're like, okay, thank God. Kelsey's back, because the Indiana Fever realistically need to go and they need a win on Wednesday. Like, if you go into the All-Star break 17-10 on a 4-game, thank you so much for $20. Sophie beats the WNBA 1v1 in a 1v1 game by a single point. I don't entirely know what that means, but thank you for the $20. But like, if the Indiana Fever come in for 17-10 am I right in saying 4-game win streak with Caitlin Clark playing? Yeah, if they win this, they're on a 4-game win streak when Caitlin Clark plays. Oh, no, sorry. They've won 4 out of 5. 3-game win streak and won 4 out of 5 when Caitlin Clark plays. And it's like, okay, that is absolutely a big, big thing. And if you've got Kelsey and Caitlin, especially because you're like, Caitlin and Kelsey, if they are playing off each other, they are the best duo in the league. As in, if it is, there's a clear hierarchy where Kelsey shoots more than Caitlin, but Caitlin gets more touches. And it's not the two of them fighting. Like, I think because Caitlin can be a facilitator, Kelsey can't. So Caitlin as a facilitator, facilitating ideally to Kelsey, is a much better team than Caitlin and Kelsey going, your turn, your turn, my turn. And I was kind of worried. And obviously, look, when it comes to Kelsey Mitchell, you're never going to question Kelsey as somebody who, I don't know if there are that many people in the WNBA that love the sport of basketball as much as Kelsey Mitchell. So at the end of the day, it's a you know if she's missing a game, it's for something legit. You genuinely know it's for something legit. And you just really want them to be on the floor more together. Because if the Fever are going to win, look, at the end of the year, the Indiana Fever have to make a choice. They're not doing that now. They're not doing that in the year of 2026. They will make the choice coming into the new year. They might choose Kelsey. They might choose Caitlin. They can't, they realistically can't keep both. Unless they somehow, and if they keep both, it's for one more year. The only way they can keep both is if you don't give Caitlin her epic extension and she becomes a restricted free agent. And then in the 2027 season, and then you trade one of Lexi Hall and Monique Billings, or one of those two. And then the following season, when Caitlin becomes a restricted free agent, someone's going to offer her a max and you lose Caitlin Clark then. So you can keep them for one more year, but it would involve losing Caitlin for nothing, basically. So that's basically what you have a choice. Is you can either get something for Caitlin or lose one of them for nothing next year. So I'm saying she isn't taking the epic, but she isn't leaving. Then bye-bye Lexi Hall for next year, and bye-bye Caitlin Clark in 2027 at the end of her rookie contract. Bye-bye Caitlin in 2027. But yeah, look, a lot of people were kind of panicking when Kelsey was missing that game for personal reasons, or missing packs for personal reasons. And it's funny that I'm seeing it on Twitter as well. People were talking about oh, did Kelsey Mitchell pull a Skylar Diggins or pull a Kennedy Carter because Caitlin won player of the week when Kelsey Mitchell should have won? At the end of the day, I would have had no issue with either of them winning. The Fever, the Indiana Fever go 3-1 in the week, or 3-3-0, and Kelsey Mitchell averaged more points. But that being said, when you break, we saw it with Marina Mabry, we saw it with Jess Shepherd, where if you have a historic game like Jess Shepherd's 20-10-20 game, she won player of the week off one game. Marina Mabry won player of the week off one game. So it's one of those things where it's Caitlin was always going to win. Not necessarily that she deserves to win, but when she has that game, she's always going to win. And people are out here saying that oh, Kelsey Mitchell has just done that. Oh, she's missing for personal reasons. She doesn't want to be there because Caitlin Clark got an award that she didn't. It's I don't think Kelsey Mitchell, based on everything with Kelsey Mitchell, she does not play for awards. She plays for money. Money is a factor in Kelsey Mitchell. No question about that. And if Kelsey Mitchell was ring chasing and stuff, she wouldn't have been a member of the Indiana Fever. She would have left. If she cared that much, she would have left. If she cared that much about that. I think money and just going out there and hooping is probably the biggest thing for Kelsey Mitchell. But at the end of the day, look, I don't feel like this is something that really matters. Like, everybody talking about this yesterday, like it was this huge deal. And to be honest, I didn't want to make a video on this because I wanted to give it one extra day. I wanted to give one extra day because you kind of at the same time, you need to wait and see it play out, because if it turns out that something is wrong with Kelsey, okay, she's gone for a few days, she's gone for the game. She went away for one day for personal reasons, and I hope everything's okay. I really do. That's the most important thing, that Kelsey Mitchell's okay. That everything around Kelsey Mitchell is good, and again, if she needs to take time off, take as much time as you need. But for the sake of the team, selfishly, it is absolutely better that she plays, because we're finally starting to see Caitlin and Kelsey stop getting in each other's way. And when they play together, this team is exceptional. The problem is that for 2/3 of the minutes they played this season, they've been playing against each other. They've been in a contest to see who can score more, rather than playing together to help a team win. And that's not good for anybody. And hopefully we can see more of them playing together over the next couple of games. Oh, fuck me. What do I want to watch? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need to talk about this. So who would have ever guessed at the last time that Lainey Hamilton was going to play for the Liberty, and her last action as a member of the New York Liberty was almost certainly chucking a shoe at somebody? Who would have ever guessed that the last thing that Benijah Lainey Hamilton was ever going to do as a member of New York Liberty, where, by the way, she has been fantastic. She was fantastic. Like, she was arguably their best player before Stewie and Sloot and John Quell got there and they formed the Avengers. Like, she was arguably their best player, and a lot of people felt like she was their best player that 2022 season. And she was a starter when they won the title. She's just kind of washed. Not like so, I don't think it's so washed, but like, she was kind of washed. Absolutely kind of washed. But she hasn't seen the floor since this game. There was no suspension. They have not played her since. And like, they genuinely have benched her. Like, Chris DeMarco on Benijah Hamilton not playing again. We have a lot of depth in this team, and roles change game to game. I'm really proud of this team the way we fought tonight. Problem with having so many good players, there's only so many minutes. It's just the depth we have. We have confidence in everybody, and showed tonight when we came to Crew and pulled out the win. They started Beck Allen. Like, look, I got to be real here. I thought last year was a fluke bad year from Beck Allen. I did. I thought last year was a fluke bad year from Beck Allen in Chicago. I didn't want to judge somebody based on how they played in Chicago. I thought it was a fluke bad year. No, Beck Allen kind of sucks. Like, Beck Allen is barely a WNBA player. So, I'm like, I don't necessarily know what they're thinking. There's no basketball reason when to not play Benijah Lainey Hamilton. Like, I genuinely just don't feel like there's a real basketball reason for this. They're obviously trying to trade her. There's no question about that. They are trying to trade her. But like, surely you've got a couple of weeks till the trade deadline. Surely there's a way of trading her. Like, the Indiana Fever are a team that will kind of need Benijah Lainey Hamilton, because even a washed Benijah Lainey Hamilton is a better player than Lexi Hull. I'm just trying to think like of teams that could want her. Dallas could, but like, she's on nearly a minimum. If you're Dallas, you'll have to give up like Alicia Clark and a first. And that's the thing. It was like, I think overall, my guess is that Dallas is probably where she ends up for the reasoning of they have 2 first-round picks this year. And I think that would be a really bad trade. I think it will be a really, 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 really bad trade if you're giving up a first-round pick. Like, if you look right now at the way contracts are in this league, and again, we don't really know who's coming up, but the standard is getting way better. Like, way, 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 way better in college ball. And players coming through, like the likes of an Addie Brown, Tessa Johnson, Risa Shea's sister. I'm just like looking through this draft class, and I'm like, obviously the top players are top players, but I'm talking about players that could be available at pick 12, which is going to be one of the Dallas Wings picks. I'm like, it's not great. So Toronto aren't going to trade for BLH because she's a 1-year rental. She becomes a UFA next year. She becomes a UFA, so she's not even a 1-year rental. She's a half a year rental. So you basically have to go to a team that thinks that they are a BLH away from winning a title. Which for me, you're looking at Vegas. Who don't have their pick this year, might give it away next year. You're looking at Vegas, you're looking at Indiana, you're looking at Dallas. I think the 3 of those teams might think they're a BLH away from winning a title. They, for me, are the only 3 I can see. But also, if you are New York, you don't want to give up Benicia Lady Hamilton to Vegas, because if you give her up to Vegas, suddenly it's like, oh shit, we're competing with them for a title. So you have to weigh it up. It's like, do you take the player, or do you take the pick, or do you have Benicia Lady Hamilton sit there for the rest of the season doing nothing? And by the way, I'm pretty confident that's what the Chicago Sky are doing with Skylar Diggins. I think the only team that wants Skylar Diggins is the Mystics, and they're not going to give her to Washington. So I think Skylar Diggins is just sitting out. I think it's a mutual thing. This is a DeWanna Bonner situation all over again with Skylar Diggins. I think it is an interesting one anyway. But the New York Liberty aren't going to buy her out either, because then she can go wherever she wants to go. It's just a weird situation. And right now, it seems like they don't want to trade her, and they don't want to play her. And that she doesn't want to play. Let's be very, very clear. Even if she meant to throw the shoe to Jonquel Jones, she chucked the shoe towards a group of players. She clearly does not want to play. Like, unless Jonquel Jones caught that shoe. And even if, by the way, even if Jonquel Jones caught that shoe, she was getting ejected. You could not jump off the bench, run onto the floor, and throw a shoe towards a group of players. Even if it hit its intended target, she's still probably going and getting herself ejected from that game. So I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, she clearly doesn't want to be there. The Liberty, I'm not going to say clearly don't want her, because I don't know. I don't want to speak for the New York Liberty franchise. But like, she's clearly better than Beck Allen. She's clearly better than like Hanju at different positions. She's better than like Raquel, as an overall player, than Raquel Carrera. Especially when Leo Phoebus is out. Like, she could have come in and been the she absolutely could have come in and been the replacement for Phoebus. Agree on early point you made. Surprise League isn't calling Sophie race for pointing, or are they? League in general, no. People around the league, absolutely. But yeah, but with BLH, like, this is where she was supposed to be. She was supposed to be starting for this team. Like, Phoebus is gone. They are rotating. Maureen Johannes injured. They are rotating between Rebecca Gardner and Beck Allen. There is no world in which BLH should not be coming in and starting over Beck Allen. There is no world. But yeah, look, it's just a mad situation all around, and I feel kind of bad for BLH because she's just not playing. At the same time, she clearly doesn't want to be there. And a team that, doesn't want, like, when you don't want to be there, it's a lot of coaches are just like, you know what? You don't want to be here. We don't want to play you. So yeah, that's it, lads. Deshaun Stevenson, yeah. Deshaun Stevenson had that song written about him. Like, what was it? The remix of Blow the Whistle. Jay-Z wrote a fucking diss track about Deshaun Stevens. That's still one of the funniest things ever. So big we don't gotta respond. Who the fuck is overrated? If anything, they underpaid him. About LeBron. But yeah, it's a organizations had to be the standard by WNBA media as the same amount of champs the Fever do. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but like the Liberty didn't have Tamika Catchings. The Fever did kind of blow up with Tamika Catchings there. What else do I want to talk about? We got Lainey Hamilton. Oh yeah, like I actually do really want to talk about Skylar Diggins. Like, I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Rosie, for the $10, by the way. Thank you. But like, Skylar Diggins just quit on her team and nobody's talking about it. And the WNBPA as well basically came out to, I'm not going to say fully defend Skylar Diggins, but essentially defended Skylar Diggins. So, if you guys don't know, the deadline for teams to have their facilities in is the 2027 season. And the Sky, through no fault of their own, aren't going to have theirs ready until the very end of this season. And if you know what I mean by through no fault of their own, they're basically working with contractors to build it because it's a community center. But Chicago Sky have like half of it. I don't know what percentage, but they have a large chunk of it for themselves for exclusive use. So basically, the contractors are slow. This was supposed to have been done 6 months ago. They've delayed everything. This is the one time I will ever defend the Sky. And because of the Skylar Diggins situation, WNBPA are like, it's a disgrace that the Chicago Sky are a disgrace. And now Skylar Diggins has not been seen. Like, she has pulled a DeWanna Bonner. And I don't even know what exactly is the best way to go about this, because if you're the Chicago Sky, you're paying her. At least the Indiana Fever didn't pay her. You have her signed to $1.8 million, and she has not been seen. She went on IG Live talking about how she was being benched. She went on IG Live talking about how she was being benched, and then showed up to practice the next day to talk to Tyler Marsh, and has not been seen since. She has not been seen since. Like, I don't even know. I genuinely don't even know what exactly the Sky do in this scenario. Because Skylar Diggins hasn't been seen. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, she somehow picked up an injury. Someone says once you dig into the facility mess, Sky started looking a lot worse. In general. They look cheap. But the delay is not their fault. The overall scenario is their fault. The delay is not their fault. But like, the Chicago Sky as an organization are being dragged. Absolutely. But like, again, if you're Skylar Diggins, you signed up for this. You signed up to be a member of the Chicago Sky. Like, whether or not you agree, every single person knows what the Chicago Sky, including every player. And not only that, she wasn't very good. Like, she hasn't been good for the Sky this year. And now it feels like she's pulling a Duana. Like, she's seen a practice at the end of practice. Like, she's there at the end of practice, and then what happens then afterwards is like, okay, yeah, they have a game the next day. Suddenly she has a miraculous injury. As soon as she's there, she's quote unquote on the bench. As soon as they find out she's coming off the bench, everyone's talking about, oh yeah, Skylar Diggins is, she's a pro. She'll be fine coming off the bench. And am I right in saying she hasn't been seen? I've watched one of their games and she hasn't been on the bench. Am I right in saying she just has not been seen at all? Like, she didn't even pull in Angel Reese and bring somebody. She should have brought somebody down courtside with a free Skylar t-shirt. Like, you need to, if you're going to get out of there, you got to go full James Harden. Skylar's been at all the games. Okay, so she's been at all the home games. Like, this situation just seems genuinely bad. And you're like, apparently she had a knee injury in October, just acted up the day after she was told she was coming off the bench. If all this turns out that Skylar Diggins actually somehow picked up a knee injury between the end of practice on one day and the game the next day, then this would be a crazy, crazy coincidence. And I will give my profuse apologies to Skylar Diggins. She's sitting right next to Dejanay. Oh, Dejanay just scammed the Chicago Sky. A 1 year, $600K contract when she's not going to be healthy for the year. You know what? Fair enough. Fair play. The Chicago Sky are dumbass signing you in the first place. But like, Skylar Diggins is now the worst contract in the WNBA. Because it is untradeable. She's going to be 36 years old. And has done either one of two things. She's either old and hurt or old and quit on a team. And neither of them are tradable, by the way. Neither of them are tradable. Like, it's now at the stage where you can trade for Mo Billings. You can trade for Lexi Hubs. You at least know they're going to play basketball. Skylar Diggins is on $1 million a year. And she is being paid like an all-star for the next 2 seasons. And you've either, again, for people saying they could have had Olivia Miles and Sonia Citron, there is no way they could have had Olivia Miles without without not having Angel Reese. And I think if they didn't deal with the Angel Reese nightmare that they don't finish last year, as good as Angel Reese was, I think they don't finish last year without that. Like, the Chicago, by the way, up until 2024, as much as the Chicago Sky is a horrible organization for players, they were good. Like, the Chicago Sky between 2021, they won the title in 2021. They were the second seed in 2022, and they were a good team in 2023. Like, they had been a very, very good team. They nearly won the title with Elena Deladon. Yes, all their players wanted to leave, but like, they had done a good job of recruiting players, bringing in players. So Skylar said she was already injured and she was playing through it till she was disrespected. Like, that's a really bad look. That is essentially like a, you know what, I can play, but not if I'm coming off the bench. Fuck that shit. I'm like, if that is true, I haven't seen that quote. If that is true, that's awful. That is really bad from Skylar. But like, I'm glad that this shit isn't the Indiana Fever right now. I'm really glad. But like, this feels like your James Harden, where as soon as I'm injured, but as soon as I get traded, I'm healthy. Like, this sounds like, oh yeah, I can play. I'm carrying a bit of a knock. I can play, but not if you're bringing me off the bench. Fuck that shit. And that's where it's like, okay, we're now at the stage where she's going to be gone, and I don't know what way it's going to happen when it comes to Skylar Diggins. I don't know how they're going to get rid of her. I don't know how they're, I don't know what way they're going to trade her, if they're going to have to keep her and pay her for 2 years. Because they very well could have to do that. There's a very good chance they have to pay her for 2 seasons because nobody wants her. And then she's just going to basically not play for 2 years. And that's her career done. This is probably her last big payday. So she might take a buyout. They don't have to buy her out of a contract next year. And if nobody claims her off waivers, like the Chicago Sky could be down $700K on their salary cap, and that might still be the best thing they can do. Because you can at least then replace Skylar with a minimum contract player. Like, there's actually a chance that they have to buy out Skylar Diggins' $1 million contract, which would be crazy. Oh, yeah, by the way, I think the Mystics would take her if it wasn't for the fact that the Sky won't trade her to the Mystics. Sky would rather ever sit out and trade her to Washington. How terrible business been the entire year? Yeah. There's been... So who do you reckon are the 5 worst contracts in the WNBA? Like, untradeable. Who do you think the 5 worst are? So Skylar... I think... Skylar has to be there. Mo Billings has to be there. Or is it Mo or is it Lexi, do you reckon? Because Lexi is the poison pill. Lexi has the poison pill. Like, Aaliyah's not one of the worst, but Aaliyah's poison pill is grim. Ezi Magbagor is one of the worst contracts in this league. She is on more than a 3-year max. She gets paid somewhere between the max and supermax. She's played like no games and she's coming off the bench. Is Lexi's worse than Mo's? Lexi's worse than Mo's. Okay, so we're going to put Lexi Hull. Like, am I fair to put Ezi Magbagor? Carlton's been the best of all the... Like, she's played too well to put her in this top 5 worst. Her contract is bad, but it's not. Like, that's tradable. Like, if you wanted to go 1-for-1, Carlton, Magbagor, Arike, Alana Smith, you would get an asset for every single one of those. Alana Smith has to be coming off the bench for a max. That for a 3-year max, that has to be one of the worst. Temmie's 1 year, so I'm not going to put... I'm guessing Themes is Temmie. I'm not going to put Temmie in that category because she is on a 1-year deal. She's on a 1-year deal, so I'm not going to do that. So what we got to think of one more. We got to think of one more right here. Kennedy Burke, 1-year deal. Not doing that. I'm not putting a 1-year deal in. So we got Skylar, we got Lexi, we got Alana Smith, we got Ezi Magbagor. And is Dejanay Carrington, considering she's not going to play this season, is $600K like... Oh, Ariel Atkins, yeah. I'm going to say Hamby. I think Hamby's a worse contract than Atkins. Because, like, I just don't think Hamby's good. Arike has to be in there. So, honorable mentions, Arike, Aaliyah Boston. Has to be, like, the last of the Arikes. Atkins has to be in there as an honorable mention. It's just for a video later. It is just for a video later. So, yeah, so that kind of makes sense. But did any of you guys see the Tip Hayes situation yesterday? Did any of you guys see the Tip Hayes situation? So Tiffany Hayes is the sorest loser in the WNBA. She is genuinely the sorest loser in the W. And I'm like, this is one of those things where they lost. They lost to the Mystics in a game where everyone thought they were going to win. So the whole team is doing the Sonia Citron thing. The meme. The whole team, after winning the game, is there doing the Sonia Citron meme. Which is which is fine. Which is fine. Like, I don't care. This team are children. Like, I hate saying this. Their second oldest player is a rookie. And a rookie out of college is their second oldest player. This is a team of kids. And Citron, obviously, coming out in this game with 17 points. Made her second all-star team. But they're all joking. They're all having fun. And 37-year-old or whatever age she is, Tiffany Hayes, walking towards the other team like it's 2003 with a big where is it? With a big L, with a big loser sign. What year are we in? I'm sorry. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it's 2026. That is the type of shit that, like, 10-year-olds used to do when I was 10. 10-year-olds used to do when I was 10 years old. Like, what are you doing? Genuinely, what are you doing? Like, you are supposed to be. And the worst part is like, people are like, oh yeah, you know, it's a take that L. She lost. It's not even the Fortnite take that L emote dance. It is a early 2000s calling the other team losers. Like, what are we doing? Like, she is slowly becoming one of my most hated players in the league. Someone said, help me vet on Steph Dolson. She went to UConn and she's a vet. That's why she gets paid so much. Like, this is a player that is supposed to be one of the oldest players. And by the way, let's be very, very clear. She retired. She came out of retirement. She's 37 years old next month. She is 37. She's 7 years older than me. And I'm old. She is 37. And she's immediately going and walking up to another team's bench being like, yeah, loser. And it's like, first of all, neither of these teams are losing teams. You cannot call a team that's 3 games above 500, or sorry, there's 1 game above 500. Wow, why didn't there were 3 games above 500? That are above 500, calling a team as above 500 losers while you lost the game is certainly an interesting choice. It is certainly an interesting one. And I don't know. Maybe she's untouchable. Maybe Tip Hayes is completely untouchable because, you know, she, the time that she liked an Instagram post, or she replied that's real to a threat against Caitlin Clark, was ignored by the league. Maybe as the league allowed her to, whether she knowingly did or didn't, letter of the law, by the look of what she did, seemingly give the green light to a threat against Caitlin Clark, and they let her do that with no punishment. Maybe they think, someone says, I think she was calling her lame. Yeah. She was calling them losers. She was walking up to them after the game and calling them losers. And I don't know, with the whole with the whole bullshit that happened with Sandy Brondello, where they're like, coach, because the rumor is, the league did not say it was racist. They just said it was inappropriate. It was an inappropriate thing. Is this not an inappropriate gesture? And again, I'm not calling for Tiffany Hayes to be suspended for this bullshit, but I'm like, is this not a quote-unquote inappropriate gesture? And the worst part is they weren't even taunting you. They were just celebrating amongst themselves. And you're like, yeah, losers. Like, I mean, it is what it is, I guess. It is what it is. But she is slowly becoming the most unlikable player. Not even unlikable player in this league. It's like, it's funny as well with Tip Hayes that, like, the old WNBA fans hated Tiffany Hayes. She was the player they hated more than anyone else. Until, of course, she got into it with Caitlin. Then now they're Tiffany Hayes' biggest fans. Now they're Tip Hayes' biggest fans. Those same people that hated her beforehand. But, yeah, look, it is... Looking at who does it, and you're like, yeah, this league is just kind of unserious. And this is just hilarious. This is objectively hilarious. Another player in the year... A 37-year-old in the year of 2026... giving the loser sign towards an opponent who just beat you. Like, it is one of the most, like, on-brand things for this joke of a league. And this league is going to be so much better. This league is going to be so much better when the old players are gone. Like, it is. It just is. Like, it is going to be so much better. Like, if you removed every single player above the age of 35, not even 35, if you removed every player above the age of 33 from this league, and you replaced them with all undrafted players from the last 4 years of drafts, the league would be in a much better place. Much better place. It just would be. And I'm not saying the standard would be better or anything. What I'm saying is the league overall would be a much better place. These college kids coming through, the NIL kids who know how to deal with money, know how to deal with social media, know how to deal with all that crap. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's just going to be better. It's just going to be a better product. The league's going to be better and all this crap's going to go, but it's not going to go anywhere until the old guard are gone. And maybe in the next 3 or 4 years, but they're going to keep riding the end of the bench until they're in their 40s because they can make money, and then they're going to complain that they didn't make money early in their careers and young players do. So therefore, they deserve more money. At the end of the day, it is like you just know that these old players are going to come on the way out are going to be taking up bad contracts, doing nothing on the way out, and then talking about how we deserve the big contracts more than these young players who are actually better than us because we built the league and all crap like that. Oh, I cannot wait till they're all gone. I cannot wait until they're all gone. But yeah. What players in minimum contracts this year? Nearly everyone on a minimum contract this year is a reserve free agent next year. So you're not going to go from minimum to a big contract unless you're an unrestricted free agent. So basically, the only unrestricted free agents are like MHA that are on minimums, Keaton Coffee, and I'm trying to think, but there's really not many. There's not that many UFAs. Most of them are either restricted or reserved or any second round picks from 2022. Not that I know of. Okay, so do we have any other ideas for videos? Is the epic the same as regular max? No, yeah. No, it just allows you to trigger an extension a year early. Nia's on a 2-year. Okay, shit, I didn't realize that. I thought she was on 1 year. Then yeah, her contract is the best contract in the league. The old players are going to start crying for the WNBPA to get to retirement. Oh, you better believe that's true. Did the Illuminati try to kill Venom? I'm not even going to joke about that at this stage, to be honest. I'm just glad he's okay. I'm glad he's okay. But yeah, it's something I want to talk about as well. So the viewership of the WNBA has been a really interesting one. And if you look, primetime games with the Indiana Fever, they're not up since Caitlin's rookie year. Let's be very clear. They're not up. A lot of people are like, oh, these are all record viewership. Yeah, they changed how they did the ratings. 2.64 million now is like maybe 2 million back in the day. So it's not like it's that big a difference. But Caitlin Clark games are they're kind of keeping, especially with the with the games that are prime time. They're kind of keeping up like with good viewership. They really are. And even Fever games without Caitlin Clark. Like the Fever played the Aces without Caitlin Clark and without AJ Wilson. It was 1.55 million. But like, if you guys don't know, the viewership around the league has been down. It has actually been down. Like, Caitlin even playing the Valkyries on a minutes restriction pulls in a record viewership for USA, where they average 1.14 million. Up 172% versus 2025 cable average. It's the second most watched games on cable / streaming this season. That was a top cable entertainment program in the night. So, yeah, it's one of those things where when it comes to Caitlin, people are still really watching. People are still really, really watching. I think the problem is there's a reason why you're not seeing viewership footage of other games. There is a reason why you're not seeing any footage. And the reason why you're not seeing footage, you're not seeing viewership numbers, is because the non-Caitlin Clark viewership numbers are down on last year. As far as I'm aware, even with the more nationally televised games, I'm pretty sure the non-Caitlin Clark games are down. There are sometimes games that are in prime time on massive channel, on like public TV, prime time, weekend games without Caitlin Clark that might pull in 1 million views. Caitlin Clark's pulling in 1.14 million on a random Thursday night on cable. Caitlin Clark used to pull in 1 million on Ion. Like, I don't think people understand. The Commissioner's Cup final had 400,000 viewers this year. Even without Caitlin, I think it was 2 million last year. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was maybe 2 million. It was down minimum 50% year on year, the Commissioner's Cup final. Because every single Fever game that was on TV got 1 million viewers with or without Caitlin last year. And this is one of those things where it's like, everyone was talked about it. And we looked through this a year ago. When Caitlin Clark was missing last year, the Indiana Fever games viewerships dropped by like 40%. Non-Fever games dropped by 55%. So Caitlin Clark missing games had a bigger effect on non-Fever games than Fever games. You're saying they're having games at noon. Yeah, when Caitlin Clark had her games at noon, she's had plenty of them. They get millions of views. They're called the camp games. Every team plays camp games. Like, I don't think you realize that. Like, kids have there's a thing with the league where all the teams have camps, and one of their games has to be on during the time of their kids' camp. Caitlin Clark versus the Washington Mystics, 29-14, was a camp game. She has had plenty of them. That being said, when Caitlin Clark, when Caitlin Clark's either not playing 100% or the story is outweighing everything and people don't want to deal with the bullshit WNBA, people aren't going to stop watching Caitlin Clark games. And this is what the league doesn't seem to realize, is that when Caitlin Clark is playing well, when the story is about her playing basketball, people watch the other games because they're interested in seeing, okay, yeah, Caitlin's playing this person. Okay, shit. Caitlin's playing Flawley today. Cool. Oh shit, Flawley's playing Paige today. Let's watch that game. Like, that was the way 2024 was. And now it's like, well, fuck this league. I'm still watching Caitlin Clark because I want to watch Caitlin Clark, but fuck this league. I'm not watching anyone else. And I get that attitude because if you look at I watch nearly every game. But if you look at my second channel, I was posting so much in there at the start of the year, and I'm actually just annoyed. Like, to a lesser extent, I still watch the games because I still want to be able to talk about every single player. I still want to be able to talk about this, and I still want to be able to give an actual discussion on this, which is why I watched so much college ball this year and so much EuroLeague ball. At the same time, I feel less like I want to put videos on the second channel because I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm like, why would I care? Why would I care? It's one of those things where it's like, but yeah, it's the Indiana Fever are clearly, like, whether they're as popular as they were 2 years ago is debatable. The answer, probably not. But they're essentially as popular. The viewership numbers and relevance of this league culturally is in a worse spot than it's been in a long time. And the problem is Sophie Cunningham's point, she plays for the Fever. If that Sophie Cunningham meme had gone viral and she was still playing for the Mercury and those same clip happens, it still goes viral, by the way. It still goes viral because most people, and she still is a big name, it still goes viral. The problem is that the one viral clip was one of Caitlin Clark's teammates. And it's pretty much one of those things where it's like, you had millions of new eyes and you had an opportunity to make them care about other teams. If for nothing else than than just creating storylines. Like, if you guys don't know, on this channel, if you guys haven't seen what the most viewed stream on this channel was, if you look at 2024, so I'm going to go 2024. If you want to look here, if you want to look at what the most viewed streams were on my channel, so most viewed ever, All-Star Game. Massive story, Caitlin Clark versus America. Then, this was the first time the Indiana Fever faced off against Enrique's Wings. After Enrique cooked Team USA, and everyone was so excited about Enrique because they watched Enrique. Then, obviously, playoffs, when she comes up against the New York Liberty, and that was the start of the year. Then, obviously, first game of the year when they faced Chicago Sky, when they faced the Sun, because I was making so many videos about Caitlin Clark and JC Sheldon getting into it in college. This was, as much as this one was hyped, initially that was all my doing, making sure that was a story. I misspelled Caitlin Clark, Jesus. This was obviously post-Olympic break, they were just cooking it. Start of the year, or this was, I don't remember when this was, but that's a picture of Rafinha. And obviously the Taurasi one was a big deal. Then the amount of time she played against Dijonay, they were all big deals. And then this is Caitlin Clark's return. So if you look at it, it's like the WNBA could have had so many storylines, but all they ran with was Caitlin Clark fans racist. And not Caitlin Clark versus Olivia Miles. Okay, shit. Is Olivia Miles taking Caitlin Clark's crown as the best young point guard in the league? They've not nearly done enough to hype an actual rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, other than using Paige Bueckers as a object to knock down Caitlin Clark with, which is deserved. Fans want players paid. Players should get paid. Absolutely. At the end of the day, I don't think these players getting paid 10 million or 10,000 doesn't affect whether or not people watch. Dallas would still take Foot in a redraft. No, they wouldn't. Are you fucking crazy? No, they wouldn't. But at the same time, like, with all this, the WNBA had so many opportunities to create stories. They had opportunities to create rivalries. And all they did was, as a league, was push certain people, use certain people as objects to put down another player. And all that means now is that what should have been rivalries, fans don't care. They just want to go and watch. Caitlin, and they really fucked it. They had the opportunity. At the end of the day, the players don't give a fuck because they've already made their TV money. As far as I'm aware, the TV deal got renegotiated, so you're not going to be looking at we're not really going to be looking now at them renegotiating in 3 years for a much bigger price. As far as I'm aware, they pretty much went and renegotiated early, so it is what it is. But look, the WNBA have done a horrible job. They've done a horrible job of all this. I'll see you guys. The WNBA thought using the division. Yeah, and all it's done is fuck them. All it has done is completely fuck them. It is as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It completely fucked them. Do I see any trades happening? Absolutely. Absolutely, I see trades happening. Don't know who it's going to be. The August 2nd game on ABC. Who's playing on ABC? Oh, was that Olivia? Is it Olivia Miles? That's the worst thing, is that, like, I might have to fucking run back home. I'm in a... So the August 2nd game could be a very awkward one for me to be live. Like, it's going to be a rough one because I'm like in the other end of the country. Kathy needs to be fired now. I don't think these are Kathy's fault. This is Kathy's fault, to be honest. Run home. I don't know where I'm going to be. Like, it's a bank holiday, so we have Monday off, and like, my granddad passed away a few months ago, but like, my granny's in her 90s and lives in the most remote part of Ireland, and it's not that often we can get down to see her because it's a 6-hour drive away. So you want to stay for a few days, and there's barely internet down there. Like, it might actually get to the stage where I'm gonna have to, because it's like Sunday, might have to call a hotel and be like, look, can I pay X amount of money to use a conference room in your hotel? Can I pay $100 to use a conference, or £100 to use a conference room in your hotel? But yeah, it's an interesting one. So I'm going to talk about one more topic. I don't know what the topic's going to be. What do you guys think? We got one more topic to talk about here. We got one more and then I'm gone. They've done a piss poor attempt. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think they just failed Olivia Miles in general. I think they have failed Olivia Miles as a whole. Like, I think they have massively failed Olivia Miles. Because I'm going to talk about this, and I think they have whisper under a mic. Oh no, it's not being loud. It's like, I just don't know if I have enough internet. Like, I'll be streaming at like 480p, which would be funny. Like, that would be a funny stream. Like a choppy stream of me in the middle of nowhere with no lights. That would be a funny stream. But the WNBA have completely failed Olivia Miles. Like, Olivia Miles is probably having the best rookie season of all time. Like, I don't know if she'll kind of hit the peak of that, like, 15-game stretch where Caitlin Clark averaged 22 and 12. Like, I don't think she's going to hit that peak. That being said, Olivia Miles didn't have the slow start that Caitlin Clark had, and she's hardly had a bad game this year. Like, Olivia Miles against the Seattle Storm here looked unbelievable. And unlike those dumbasses that are like, oh, Caitlin's 45-point game doesn't count, it's only against the Storm. No. The Storm are a really good defense. They are a really good defensive team. And you're looking here at Olivia Miles, and she's just so smooth. Her IQ is crazy. She got drafted a perfect situation. And, like, what is that? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if Caitlin Clark puts up this shot, it's on SportsCenter. It is on SportsCenter. Like, that is one of the most crazy shots I've ever seen. That is genuinely, like, that is a circus shot. Like, for a player to be confident to just shoot that shit, that is a circus shot. And, like, this is where you're like, the league are failing Olivia Miles. Because they're falling into the same Paige Bueckers trap that the WNBA media most of the time aren't real basketball. It's not real basketball. They're not real basketball media because Olivia Miles is all hoop. She is all hoops. She is a hooper. She's going to shit talk. She's a gamer. She steps up when it matters. Olivia Miles is nothing but hoops. Nobody has a clue when it comes to Olivia Miles about anything other than her hoops. And that is the way it should be with these players. It is nothing but hoops. Clutch as fuck as well, by the way. Let's be very clear. She is clutch as fuck. And the thing with Olivia Miles, and why I'm saying the league has failed her, is the league has reduced her to being she's better than Caitlin. And the worst part is that, like, it's never, even if the comparison is there, comparison is always going to be there. But she's only ever mentioned in a way to put down Caitlin Clark. Not what realistically there should be. There's no conversations about whether or not she's having a better rookie season than Candace Parker. Like, that's where the conversation should be. The conversation should be around Olivia Miles is she having the best rookie season of all time? And you might be saying, oh, Candace Parker won MVP. Yes, AJ Wilson did not exist when Candace Parker was in the league. Is Olivia Miles having the greatest rookie season ever? Those conversations should be a thing. But instead, you've got the WNBA quoting fake records, saying she's the first to this amount of points and this amount of assists, or done it in the quickest amount of games, when she tied Caitlin Clark. There's one where she did it 4 games slower than Caitlin. They're making fake records for her because, in fairness, she's not going to compete with Caitlin in terms of statistical output. No guard is ever going to compete with Caitlin Clark as far as statistical output is concerned. The way she plays the game, she is going to generate stats better than anyone else in history. But the league is so, like, infatuated with records that they're like, oh, Paige Bueckers. One of the ones is like, Paige Bueckers overtakes Caitlin Clark as 4th fastest player to this amount of points. And I'm like, they're literally, people are talking about, like, records with Caitlin Clark, and they're like, Paige breaking Caitlin Clark to 4th. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing? The good thing is that Olivia Miles is probably going to set the record for most rookie points in a season. That's an actual record. But, like, there are so many things to talk about with the Minnesota Lynx, with Olivia Miles. And they are the media. You are supposed to be better than this. Unfortunately, like, I am a YouTube channel. I am a person who likes to talk about topics. And I am talking about Olivia Miles in a more productive way than any of you guys are, who are getting paid significantly more money than I am to talk about Olivia Miles. Let's be clear. I'm not talking about everybody. Like if you go on look at what Noah Dalzell does. If you look at some of the places that avoid as much as possible, avoid all this bullshit nonsense, you'll hear people talking about Olivia Miles properly. But if you go into ESPN, she has been relegated as a, look, see, Caitlin's not that good, look at her. And it's unfair to these players. They have botched this. They have absolutely botched this. And this is how you know they've botched this. Because no one gives a shit when Olivia Miles plays Paige Bueckers. That is how you know you've botched it. Everyone's going to watch Caitlin Clark versus Olivia Miles. Olivia Miles is one of the most fun players to watch in this league. She's one of the best guards in this league, and she's been one of the best guards since her first game. She came in at 21 on her first game and looked clutch against the Atlanta Dream. You are in a situation now with Olivia Miles where all you have to do is show her highlights. All you have to do as ESPN is, I'm sorry, every single game she posts something, get it on top 10. Every single time as a league, as ESPN, if you constantly promote Olivia Miles, maybe it doesn't happen immediately, but in 1-2 years, she becomes must-watch TV because she is, in my opinion, must-watch TV. But unfortunately, it takes 1 to 2 years of being must-watch TV before people start caring. Let's be real. Caitlin Clark has been Caitlin Clark since her freshman year. I was the one hyping her up in her sophomore year. Anyone who knows me from my 2K days knows I used to watch her highlights on stream in her sophomore year. It was her junior year that really she took off. Olivia Miles was injured her junior year, played at TCU last year, and they weren't as good as Iowa were. And then you've got Olivia Miles now. You've got 1 to 2 years where Olivia Miles, where you can hype her up. You don't need to use her as a stick to beat down Caitlin with. She's too good for that. She is one of the best guards in the league. She is already peak for peak having, I'm just trying to think of point guard seasons ever. Point guard seasons ever. There is an actual argument to be made that she is having the greatest regular season for a point guard of all time. Of all time. You have an ability as a league. You are completely failing your players. When you are seeing someone who may be having the greatest season for their position of all time, and you have reduced them to, see, she's better than Caitlin. That is what you have reduced Olivia Miles to. She's so much more than that. She is incredible. She is one of the more fun players to watch. And that is what you've reduced her to. I've said it with Paige Bueckers as well. Paige is too good to be reduced to, see, she's Caitlin before Caitlin. See, Caitlin's not that good. And that's the problem with the WNBA media, is they care more about putting down Caitlin Clark than they do about promoting the league. Because unfortunately, most of these people know nothing about basketball. It's the truth. They know nothing about basketball, or the amount of them that if you look at their bios, people that are on some of these networks, or people that were former players and stuff, it's like sports/political commentator. Exactly. That makes sense. You want to push this narrative with Caitlin Clark because you feel like it's a problem. And that's the league. It's the same with the league. I cannot wait. Until the old guard are as far away from this sport as possible. I cannot wait until every single person that was involved in this league before, and yes, some people are going to caught in the crossfire, perfectly fine. Anyone who was involved in this league before the NIL era, media or otherwise, I can't wait till they're all gone. Because the story for Olivia Miles should be chasing Candace Parker. The story for Olivia Miles should be the fact that her team, by the way, I looked at every single pre-year predictions. I had the links the highest of any team, and I had them 5th. And they're going to be the best team in the league without Nafisa Collier, Alana Smith, Bridget Carlton, Dejanay from last year. And again, the story should be Olivia Miles. But unfortunately, in the WNBA media, the story is either Caitlin Clark, there's something wrong with Caitlin Clark, or if there's nothing wrong with if we can't find anything wrong with Caitlin Clark, this other player is better, is what Caitlin Clark was supposed to be. And it's a pity, because every other story gets drowned out in that. And again, let's be very clear. let's be very, very clear. Like, I am somebody who does the opposite to an extent. I cover mostly Caitlin Clark. And at least I'm self-aware enough to know that, unfortunately, my money and my revenue is directly tied to how many views I get in these videos. I would love, and again, if any company out there wants to fund me talking about refusing to mention Caitlin Clark and talking about the Fever and doing something for you guys on the side, and I get a set salary and I can talk about all the great players in this league, I will take that money. Unfortunately, my money comes from views and the views come from Caitlin Clark. But at least I'm self-aware enough to admit that. You people are salaried employees and you still refuse to talk about her. Because again, you don't seem to care enough about basketball or this league to do that. It is what it is. Yes, Seattle are going to be ridiculous in a few years. They're not terrible now. They're one of those fun tanking teams. And Caitlin Clark officially wins WNBA Player of the Month. Or Player of the Week. Caitlin Clark has officially won the WNBA Player of the Week. And yeah, I do feel like, in general, people are not going to be happy with this. So you've got the Caitlin Clark highlights. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because if this shows full screen, unfortunately, I will get copyright claimed. Let's zoom in more. There we go. Nope, less. There we go. So if you want to watch Caitlin Clark's highlights from this week, she didn't have a great game against Golden State. I'll admit that, but this was still insane. That was still absolutely insane. Like, abso-effing-lutely insane. That one was. A spin behind the back. And again, 45 points as well. I thought she was good against New York. I don't care what anyone says. I know her percentages weren't the greatest. I still thought she was good against New York. Like, she comes in with a running skyhook. That shit is not normal. Like, I didn't think she shot well against New York. I thought her overall game was pretty good. Like, some of the turnovers are not her fault. Like, this is one of the plays of her career. And by the way, this is not a travel. This is not a travel. This is the James Harden gather step, sidestep. Like, that is for 105, 102 with 30 seconds to go. And not only that, this as well. Pull back, tie it up with 2 minutes to go. Like, that was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. Again, 12-9 down, ISOing Jade Melbourne, treating her like it's the 2021 FIBA U19s World Championship Final where Caitlin won MVP and her team beat Jade Melbourne. And this here, this is an insane and one that for some reason the referee decided to not call. But this whole game, you're like, that is all of these games. What Caitlin Clark did this week was crazy. Like, this is insane as well, by the way. Oh yeah, I'm going to go drive in, go behind the back, between the legs, burn you and one when you leave your hand in. Like, everyone's on about Caitlin's handle not being good enough. I'm like, I'm sorry, based on what? She gets full court pressure and loses her handle once every 2 games. Oh yeah, let me go. I'm just going to ISO up Melbourne. Oop, let me go to the side. Bang. And I still think her most impressive shot was the corner 3 on Stewie. That has to be in here, does it? The defensive possession was nice. The corner 3 on Stewie has to come in. Yeah, this is it. This is it. Oh yeah, Stewie's going to beat her. Oh, let's pump fake. Go right, sidestep, bang. And to be honest, that sidestep and staying in bounds is actually kind of impressive. Like, that is, I have to admit, that is kind of impressive. But like, I'm looking in the comment section like, what the hell are people talking about ice raids? We're talking basketball here. But like, I just want to see some of the responses. Player of the week on a minutes restriction. Played in Kelsey Mitchell's face. I think Kelsey Mitchell would have no issue with this. Like, I actually think based on the 45-point game, Kelsey Mitchell's probably like, yeah, I won last week. That is the way Kelsey Mitchell's probably like, I mean, I won last week and I'm probably going to win Player of the Month. So be it. Not only probably, she's certainly going to win Eastern Conference Player of the Month. There is a 0% chance Kelsey Mitchell does not win Eastern Conference Player of the Month. She's the 11th best guard. But yeah, this was a bit of a shock. I'm actually surprised they gave it to her. I'm surprised they gave her the official player of the week. Because, you know how this league has been a bit iffy about giving Caitlin Clark some of these awards. AP has never been iffy. The league kind of has. We can be real here. The league has been a little bit iffy with some of the things with Caitlin Clark. But that being said, they right now we're seeing Caitlin Clark finally getting the awards that she deserves to win. Now again, Kelsey Mitchell coming off a player of the week previous week. Someone said Kelsey Mitchell won't win player of the month. Eastern Conference player of the month. You're not serious, are you? Kelsey Mitchell's not going to win Eastern Conference player of the month. It is probably, I don't know if there's a more obvious, thing in the WNBA than player of the month this month being Kelsey Mitchell. She's averaging like 27 points a game this month. Like, and they only play, 2 more games this month? They only play 2 more games this month. So unless Kelsey Mitchell somehow comes out and averages 0 points per game over the last 2 games and plays in both of them, Kelsey Mitchell is walking away with player of the month. And it's going to be probably 2 straight player of the months for Indiana Fever players. After Kelsey Mitchell winning player of the week last week and Caitlin winning June player of the month. And my hope is just that the two of them figure out that they're on the same team again. And that has been a problem. That has been a problem for the two of them, is that they've played almost like they're playing against each other. They really have almost been playing like they're against each other. Yeah, absolutely. It's great that Paige did not get concussion playing again, or with that hit with Nneka. That is a big thing. The Paige did not get concussion there. But there has been the problem where it has felt like the two Fever stars have been playing against each other at times. And you're like, you don't really want to see that ever. You don't want to see two superstars we know can play with each other, like, actively looking like they don't want to play. Like, they don't want to go and be on the court at the same time. But I'm guessing some of these have we got positive things about Caitlin here? Incredible job by Jeremy Lin. In fairness, incredible job by Jeremy Lin, yeah. She's won like her 5th player of the week? Her 5th player of the week in two and a bit seasons. And this is a player of the week on a minutes restriction. And Caitlin McBride has been ridiculous, by the way. She's actually been ridiculous. I have to say, Caitlin McBride has been ridiculous. We're not going to question that. Like, she might be the biggest all-star snub of all time. Like, this might be the biggest all-star snub ever in Caitlin McBride. And you might be saying, oh, but K-Mac didn't start off the season well. I agree, she didn't start off the season that well, but like, she was good even about a month before they finished the votes. But yeah, Caitlin Clark is really milking this Linsanity. Like, she's made this Linsanity last 4 whole years. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to start uploading all these videos. And thank you guys for being in the stream. We're going to start uploading the videos, and I will see you guys.